Hello all you beautiful people, I hope you have had or are having a fantastic day. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Salim, the guy who talks about teenage stuff because, you know, he's kind of bored during lockdown at the moment. Nah, I'm messing with you guys, but today we have another iPad video. I noticed the iPad videos seem to be doing really well on my channel. Yeah, so today guys, I'm bringing you the long-awaited GoodNotes review. It's finally here. I've finally managed to get off my lazy ass and do this video, but no, I've been swamped with work. I actually just finished my first week of the IB. A little hectic, so I've literally been doing work all day, but I finally have time to sit down and record this video. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into the actual video. Also, wait, nah. Guys, okay, I have a bone to pick with you. From all the people watching my videos, 53.3% of them aren't subscribed. God damn it, guys, you know my subscriber goal is to hit 100 by the end of September, so help me achieve it. Click that little, red button that says subscribe on it down below to never miss another one of my videos, guys. Anyway, let's get into the GoodNotes review. Once again, you should hopefully be able to see my iPad screen somewhere there. I never remember which side it's on, but let's start this video talking about what GoodNotes actually is. So if we just jump over to my work folder right here, GoodNotes is on the left hand side, fourth row down. That's what the icon looks like. You've probably seen a lot of people around with an Apple Pencil and an iPad that are scribbling down things. The application that they're using to scribble these notes down on is one of two. You can see either Notability or GoodNotes. Today we're going to be talking about GoodNotes because it is my application of choice. I'll do another video comparing the two later on. But yeah, people actually need an application to write notes down. Nobody, trust me, nobody uses the built-in iPad Notes app unless you're pleb. In the case of my school, it's a lot of science teachers. It's also a lot of professors in universities. I've seen that become a very popular thing because they can walk around, write as they speak, and it's just very, very useful. It's also extremely useful when you're a student, especially in the IB where you probably won't have regular copybooks. You can have all your documents in one place at the same time and it just saves you a lot of time. Now let's talk about the pricing of GoodNotes real quick. From what I remember, I think it's between 8 to 10 euros. It might actually be a little cheaper. So it's super inexpensive. And for those of you who do have an iPad, GoodNotes is the #1 way to increase your productivity, trust me. Other app, Notability, also goes for around the same price if any of you were wondering. Okay, let's get into the actual application. When you open it up, you have all your main documents. For me, it's anything associated with YouTube. I'm also really involved in MUN at the moment, so I have a folder for that. And then there's also just a bunch of random documents that don't fit into any other folder. And then the main folder, the first one that I ever created, was school. You started using GoodNotes around the time when e-learning started to come in. So that's why you're probably wondering, why is the date only the 23rd of March 2020? Unfortunately, in school, the teachers weren't really a fan of us using iPads to take down notes. They much preferred if we take down physical notes. That's why I've only started to use it very recently. But my app of choice previously was Notability, which I did do some work on. Now that the IB is coming around, I anticipate that GoodNotes will definitely be an application that I'm on 24/7. Okay guys, now GoodNotes actually has a few types of documents that you can create. Let's look at them by clicking on the new button on the left hand side. You can create a notebook, which we'll go into later. You can create a folder, the blue icons that you can see on the right hand side. You can import an image if you want to. You can scan documents, which is a super nifty thing in case you need to scan a document on the go and you don't have a printer or scanner nearby. You can take photos from the app and they will directly be imported into GoodNotes. You can also import PDF files, which is a massive bonus. I could import a 150 slide PowerPoint into GoodNotes and it would work just fine. I could write over it, I can annotate as the teacher speaks about it, and it's just a really useful thing. You can also import worksheets so you can directly write onto them, and most importantly, in my case for the IB, you can import textbooks. So especially now that we're in this e-learning phase, I had to import my 900-page math higher level applications book, which was, it took a little bit. I thought it was gonna absolutely blow up my iPad, but it didn't. Luckily, it was only 170 megabytes. So yeah, that's very useful. And during this period of time where we don't have access to physical textbooks, thank God we don't have access to physical textbooks, because that 900-page textbook probably weigh more than me, not gonna lie, and I weigh a lot, so that wouldn't be ideal, let's put it that way. But yeah, that's a major bonus. And then also you have the ability to create quick notes. So let me just show you what that looks like. If you just double tap on the new button, you instantly get brought to this notes section. if someone's speaking quickly or if you need to jot down something in the moment, you can do that. That's an option. Also very useful. Let me just go ahead and delete that real quick. If we take a look into the settings, you've got your notebook template. So every time you create a notebook, this is what your default will be. So you can create a notebook cover for your aesthetics. There are many amazing covers on here that are just fantastic. There are lots of simple covers. You know, you can also import covers. And it's just fantastic. Even these, I really like these solid ones. They look very nice. There's just a lot of creative stuff you can do here to, you know, spice up your thing. When it comes to paper, you've also got a variety of paper choices. You've got blank, dotted paper, squared paper, ruled narrow, ruled wide. You can import many papers that you can download online. I personally set my default to ruled narrow. That's the paper I use more often, and I don't really mess around with the default covers. I'm not like a super colorful fancy person, so I just stick with the simple black. You've got also different styles of papers. You've got writing paper, you've got a Cornell style, legal style, single column, mixed single column, 3 column. I don't mess around with these too much, but they are there in case you need them. You've also got planners. I use this weekly planner A, which has been a lifesaver when it comes to remembering things. I've got awful short-term memory, so it really helps, especially when I'm in class and I get homework. I just write it down. I'll show you my weekly planner for my first week of IB, because that's the one that I have going right now. And then for all of you who are interested in music, like myself, you've got an option for guitar score, guitar tab, or music paper, so that's fantastic to have that there in case you do need it. Now, a feature that I actually really love about GoodNotes, it's really small, but it really does make a difference, is you can change your color of papers. You can do this on Notability too, but it doesn't have an option to have black paper. Black paper is so clean, it is so elegant, and I absolutely love the way it looks. When you write in white ink, it's kind of revolutionary, or in like light green ink, it's fantastic. If there's one reason to get GoodNotes, it's definitely because of this dark paper. Once again, you do have the option to switch it to landscape or to portrait. Without further ado, let's get into some of the juicy stuff you can do when you actually are taking down notes. I'll show you what is in my school folder. So we go to school, we go to year 12, and then I'll open up my biology notes. We've only just started the first unit on cell biology in the IB, so I'll open up those. So if we look at the sidebar at the bottom, that's also a customizable thing. Usually the sidebar is at the top, but for those of you who don't know, I'm left-handed, so I kind of write really weird. I've just gotten used to like avoiding smudging pencil or rubbing my hand against the binder of a notebook. So I write like in a very awkward position. So having the sidebar at the bottom is something you can do if you're left-handed just like me, and it won't get in the way. You won't accidentally pick a function that you don't want. The tool farthest on the left is the view tool. So you can just move around the square, make it smaller, make it larger. This is to zoom in on anything you want to. So if we just zoom in on this animal cell right here, it's a fantastic tool if your writing is a little bigger. So you can write in that zoomed field and it'll appear small on the actual text and makes your notes look really cool. It's also, if you've got like small handwriting somewhere and you can't quite read it, then you can use that zoom tool. Also, it's probably a good idea that you start writing a little bigger. It'll just make your life a lot easier. Moving on, you've got the basic tool, the pen tool. There are 3 types of pen styles in GoodNotes. You have the fountain pen, which is the pen you see on screen right now. All my notes are taken with the fountain pen. You've got the ballpoint pen, which is just a consistent thickness throughout. Then you've also got the brush pen, also known as a calligraphy pen. So if you press really hard, it gets super thick, and press really thin. Yeah, so basically if you want to have any artistic features in your notes, you have that option, but I have the fountain pen because it appears most natural to me. I also love the way it looks. Then you've got your eraser tool. You have 3 different thicknesses. Unfortunately, these aren't adjustable, but if you do zoom in, the small eraser adjusts to scale. So there's the larger one. I won't actually rub out anything because, you know, that'd be really bad because I don't want to erase these notes. I spent a long time on them. For the eraser options, you can choose to erase the entire stroke, which looks like this. If you do it, it just erases the whole piece of text, or you can cut it out to erase just parts of your text, you know, more like a traditional eraser. I prefer to have the entire stroke on, which is very useful. I rarely want to rub out small details. You can choose to erase highlighter only, which is super useful, so you don't have to zoom in super close and erase like fine bits where there's highlighter only. I completely forgot to talk about the different pen colors. You have the standard colors, which are the first 3 rows, and then you also have a lot of custom colors. You can go into super fine detail and fine tune whichever colors you'd like and add them to your palette, just for creativity and for color division in your notes to make things a lot clearer. You've also got different thicknesses, so it goes all the way from 0.1 millimeters to 2.0 millimeters. and that's mainly for your title. So I have my title stick and then highlight them. To the highlighters, you have your standard colors, which are along the top row, and then I also added red. You can pick many colors, and once again, you can also pick and fine-tune colors if that's what you're into. But yeah, highlighter tool works very similarly to the pen tool. And one great thing about the highlighter in GoodNotes is that it actually creates a perfectly straight line. For those of you who have OCD, it's fantastic. And the highlighter goes under your text, so it looks a lot cleaner than it does in Notability, for example, where it goes over it. Highlighter tool, really recommend it. It's great. And you can, go over it as many times as you want. It doesn't do anything. Go over it again to make it darker and darker and darker. If you don't want the straight line, you could also turn that off. That's an option. Moving on, we have the Shapes tool, which I do not like on GoodNotes. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. This is an honest review after all, but the Shapes tool is something I'm not a fan of. I'll run you through the Shapes tool real quick. You have your 3 different pens, and you can also snap to other strokes. So what that means is if you draw a straight line and you draw another one, it'll automatically snap. The reason I don't like it is because if you draw circles and triangles, it doesn't draw perfect shapes all the time. That's something that doesn't happen in Notability. In Notability, you can draw perfect shapes, but you can't ask for everything, right? It's something I've learned to deal with, something you'll learn to deal with too, and it just takes practice to make perfect shapes. For me, it's not a deal breaker, but for you, if you're super into geometry and you're getting yourself GoodNotes just for that pure reason of drawing shapes, then I wouldn't recommend it. Maybe look into the option of Notability. You also got your lasso tool, which, you can pick, select, do all sorts of wonderful things with. I'll move that back. When you select something, you have a lot of options. You can take a screenshot of what you selected. You can resize it, so make it bigger, smaller. You can also recolor it. So in case you write something and you want to change the color later on, you can pick from all the colors you have in your palette. You can also convert it to straight up text, which is something fantastic in Notability. And then of course you can cut, copy, and delete it. A fantastic feature of GoodNotes is that you can click on the screen to pull up images, or if you don't want to do that, you can look at all your recent photos down in the bottom right hand corner and insert them directly onto the page. It looks a little like this. It's super fast, super rapid. You can move it around. It's very time efficient. You also have the option to take a photo, write in text. It's a basic text tool. I won't go through that too much. And then you also have a laser pointer if you're presenting to your class. You have 2 different types of laser pointers. So you have a direct pointer and then also a pen style pointer. One thing that I forgot to mention again about the pen tool is that you can preset 3 different thicknesses and 3 different colors. This is a huge time saver. It might not seem like much, but when you're on the go writing, it takes 1 click to switch your color compared to 2. I know probably doesn't seem that significant, but it has saved me a lot of time compared to when I was using Notability. Guys, finally, let's look at the options you have on the bottom. If we start on the very left, you can just go back into your folders. Next from that is your complete view. So as you can see, all my notes are on screen. I can jump to whatever page I'd like. If I wanted to go to stem cells, I can jump there. If I wanted to go to surface area to volume ratio, I can jump there. Whatever your heart desires, you can jump around, and it's super easy, super quick. The next tool you have is the search tool. So if you want to search for a word, let's say I want to search for the word gene. If found many matches of the term gene, GoodNotes is really good at recognizing all different types of handwriting. So even if you got garbage handwriting like I do, you'll be able to find your key terms super quick. You can also flag it, which is essentially favoriting it. Sharing options, you've got a couple different sharing options. You could print it directly. You can export all the pages in the document, or you could just export a singular page. You can also do that from the page selector. So just press select. You can select which ones maybe you want to copy them, rotate them, export them, whatever your heart desires. There's just a lot of freedom when it comes to GoodNotes, and it's very intuitive as well. The functions within the actual software are super thought out, and you can use them to really maximize the effectiveness of your learning. When it comes to exporting features, for those of you guys wondering, if we export all of them, you can export it as an image, a GoodNotes file, or a PDF. Also export it to a variety of places. So if it just pops up, you can airdrop it, you can send it as a message, upload it directly to Google Classrooms, which is super useful for me. If my teachers like using Google Classroom, you can send it using Messenger, Gmail, upload it to Drive, send it to Notability if you want, whatever your heart desires. You can also copy it, save it to iTunes if you have any audio files there. And you can also save it to files, so the local storage on your iPad, in case you don't want to pay for iCloud and store it in the cloud like I do, you can just save it directly to your local drive on your files. For those of you who have previously used GoodNotes 4, you can import your data from GoodNotes 4 into GoodNotes 5, so don't worry about data transfer. It should be super easy for you. There's also the option to multitask and sidecar your notes. So if you just press the button in the bottom right hand corner and press open a new window, you can see I've got my chemistry notes here, whatever note I had along the bottom, and you've also got my biology notes here on the right hand side. To stop sidecarring, you press X and it goes back to this notebook. For those of you wondering, you can open as many notes as you want and they'll just appear at the bottom of the screen. Yeah guys, that has been about it for the screen recording of my iPad on GoodNotes. The last thing I'd like to talk about is the fact that GoodNotes has an application on your computer. That means you could be using your iPad and GoodNotes on your iPad simultaneously with GoodNotes on your laptop. You can have, you know, your math textbook open on your laptop while you're taking down notes from the textbook on your iPad. So that is a super feature when it comes to productivity. I'm fairly sure Notability does not have an app. I think they only have an online website which you can do it on. So in case you don't have access to internet, you won't be able to find your notes. But yeah guys, that has been about it from me for this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider hitting that like button and pressing the subscribe button as well, turning on post notifications to never miss another one of my videos. It really helps support the channel. And if you want to see more content from me, then that is the best way to support me. If you have any questions at all about GoodNotes, about life in general, pop them down in the comments below. I love reading comments and responding to them. It's one of my favorite things to do when I upload a new video. Guys, my subscriber goal by the end of the summer, so that's the end of September, is to hit 100 subscribers. I believe that all of you are awesome out there. It will help me achieve that goal. So share this video along with your friends and tell them to subscribe to me. That about wraps it up. I will see all of you later. This is the first time you and I are meeting. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Salim, I'm a student, I'm 16 years old. I decided to start my YouTube journey because I felt like there was a lack of videos on the internet for teenagers, for people like us. It is so important that teens are educated properly in lifestyle, education, how to make the right choices, and most importantly, how they can grow to become an amazing individual with a fabulous personality. Anything I just said even remotely interests you, consider sticking around and watching some of my other videos. I'd be super grateful if you drop me a follow on Instagram. My Snapchat is, that's my shameless plug for the day done.